Thank you very much, and thank you for making me feel so welcome. You actually brought the Yorkshire weather down to London as well. You didn't need to, but it certainly made me feel welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. I've been asked to try and bring a business perspective to what we've just heard from the two speakers so far today. And I think there are so many different strands that I can pick up on. In the time allotted, I'll try and take you through where we've started on sustainability from an Asda and from a Walmart perspective. And then I think crucially where we will pick up on maximising resource efficiency from now and probably over the next 5-year period. You know, we do understand as a business, now more than ever, in a both financially and economically constrained environment, efficiency, or actually the shorthand we use within our business, is more for less, is absolutely highly relevant and important to us. I stand here today, I guess, wearing two hats. My role has two halves, so I'm head of corporate sustainability at Asda, and I have my British hat on, but I also have my Walmart baseball cap as well, because in essence my role is split two ways. So I advise the Asda business on strategy, on policy, and then communicate that policy around the UK to NGOs, to government, and to others. But I also lead on some Walmart projects and share best practice of Walmart globally as well. And more these days, the Walmart piece is actually becoming part of the Asda piece. So I thought it'd be interesting today to link between the two and give you some examples that actually cover both Walmart and both Asda. I mean, if you asked the Asda board in 2005, if you went to them and asked the question, are we a resource-efficient business? It would have taken them about a millisecond to go, definitely, we have to be. We're an everyday low-cost retailer. So actually, our efficiency is key to us being able to deliver the low prices to our customers. And they were right, to some extent. If you rewind back to 2005 again, and look at, we decided to take all of these efficiency measures and call them sustainability, and to package them into a true sustainability strategy. And we have this umbrella now in three core areas: to be supplied 100% by renewable energy, to create zero waste, and to sell products that sustain people and the environment. And actually, if you look at it, resource efficiency sits at the heart of all three of these aspirations. This focus on resource efficiency, as you would imagine, started in our own operations. So we've done a lot of work around our stores, our deliveries, our waste, and our packaging as particular key areas. And RAP have been a key part in helping us to deliver on these savings and in making this progress, particularly through the Quartile Commitment 1 and more recently through Quartile Commitment 2. So I would like to recognise RAP's role in helping us to move down that path, particularly when we didn't really understand the issues as well as we do today, and that was extremely valuable to us. People ask me, how much money have you saved through sustainability? And it's very difficult to put an exact number on it, because actually the savings then spiral into other savings around the business. But it's certainly not too big a number to say at least £50 million. So it's actually helped us to deliver low prices to our customers, as well as use less resources at the same time. And in carbon terms, in the last 5 years, we've made a 7% absolute reduction in our direct carbon footprint. That one was just over the last 2 years. We've made a 52% reduction in our transport emissions. And we've diverted 85% of our operational waste from landfill, including 100% of all of our food waste. If you look at our buildings, our existing buildings are 21% less emissions than they were in 2005, and our new stores are 42% less emissions than in 2005. And we've reduced our water usage by nearly 8%. We also signed up to RAP's commitment on construction waste. We believe we'll hit it 2 years early. That's certainly what we're aiming towards. And standing here today, we're 90% of our construction waste diverted from landfill as well. And last but not least, we've made a 27% reduction in our packaging by weight. This focus on our own operations is by no means complete yet, but we can deliver, we feel, even more through our supply chain innovations. So the Asda board of 2005, they were not wrong. However, I think if we could go back in time and show them what we've achieved over the last 5 years, they would be surprised with how things have changed. And I think this picks up a lot from a real business perspective to what we've heard earlier in the day. I can absolutely confirm that resource efficiency has helped us to be more successful as a business. Nowadays, we have a new language. We have this language of responsibility deals. And we've heard it mentioned probably about 10 times already today. Clearly, it is early days yet. But to my mind, it raises an interesting question around whether cooperation or whether competition drives the most change in the area of resource efficiency. Competition is a powerful force, particularly amongst retailers. All of those who work for retailers will be fully aware of that. We've made lots of progress because of this competition, and this has been to the benefit of all of our individual customers. But actually, it can also hamper progress. One good example is our corporate lawyers are extremely nervous about any agreements between individual companies or between sectors as a whole, because it might breach competition law. But that does then obviously hold us back. In my ask of the Secretary of State, I know she's left, but some of her team are still here in the room, is to help businesses collaborate more easily to hit the UK PLC's carbon reduction targets. We need a sensible interpretation of antitrust laws in this space. And let me just give you a quick example of what you could achieve if that was able to happen. Doors on fridges is a great example of this. So within the retail space, particularly supermarkets, we have a lot of refrigeration. If we were to put doors on every single one of our fridges, in every single one of our stores, across every single one of the supermarkets, there would be significant carbon benefits. But actually, there's no prizes in coming first and doing it first. So the competition does not exist. Why would a retailer put a barrier between the products they've lovingly created for their customers and the customers they want to buy them? It's a very difficult one to sell. And in fact, we've done trials where we've seen customers go to competitors that haven't put doors on fridges. Just one small example, but imagine the resource efficiency benefits we could achieve by working together. You could call that a responsibility deal. But to work, responsibility deals do need a convening agent, whether that convening agent is government, whether it's NGOs, whether it's an organisation like WRAP, but it's not trade associations, I would argue. And I would argue that the progress also of the Courtauld Commitment 1 and Courtauld 2 demonstrates this approach does have real merit and can complement competition. I think the two need to work together. A good example, to my mind, of how far we've come through what's now called responsibility deals is from the early days of the Glassright project, which Asda was a key partner in, and it allowed us to get on the path of driving innovation in our packaging formats and put us onto the path that delivered that 27% so far lightweighting achievement. We started in those early days with quite a small, easy to deliver, I would argue, though I guess we didn't say that in those days, not too controversial for customers generally, some murmuring, but generally not too controversial, to actually today, where you look at something like in-store dispensing systems. So we worked with WRAP, and WRAP kindly funded a trial where in 5 of our stores, we put a machine that took fabric conditioner and pumped it rather than delivering it to you in a bottle. So you, the customer, had to take a flexible pouch, you had to place it within the machine, it would fill it for you, and then you would take the product away, use it, and bring it back for refilling. And you could do that up to 10 times. And this was a partnership between ourselves, EasyServe, Oak Dean Hollins, our supplier McBride's, and an industry panel that also supported that. It was a new concept for customers, because actually we're asking them to do something different. And actually we're asking them to actually do an extra step that's a bit of a pain, really, to have to remember to bring it back and to refill it instead of just grab one off the shelf, use it, and then recycle it or not, depending on what facilities exist in your area. So we thought we needed to give a carrot for our customers around there was a significant price reduction by using the machine versus taking the product off the shelf. What's really surprised me is when we polled our customers, the environmental benefits were easily up there along with the price benefits. And I think there's a lesson in there in terms of how we continue to communicate this. And I want to say a really well done to all of the partners in this project, because it actually won Innovation of the Year at the Packaging Awards last week as well. We're not finished on that project yet, so watch this space. We'll develop the learnings, and possibly go again with a branded partner, possibly with a different product. It was certainly very interesting to us. I was at a dinner a couple of weeks ago where it was remarked, Walmart is the biggest interface with the customer that the world has ever seen. And I think that's absolutely true. In one single week, we interface with 200 million customers in 15 countries. And actually, we're growing so fast, that number itself is probably out of date. But these customers are at the heart of everything that we do. So we need to engage them on resource efficiency. But we need to engage them in a common sense way. Asda took a stance to democratise our business, both in our operations and also in the products we sell last year, and to make it more transparent. And we've done that in two key ways. So today, we have blogs looking into our business, one of them being our Spy blog, which actually talks about resource efficiency and talks about what we're doing on sustainability, as well as talks about the latest video game you can buy from us and what price it's available for. What's been really interesting is this gamble we took and allowing customers to see into the heart of our business has paid off really well for resource efficiency. The environment section of the Our Spy blog is the most read and the most commented on. So clearly there is an interest from customers to understand this more. And we put webcams into key parts of our business, like Bangladeshi factories producing clothes for us, or chicken production facilities. And recently, you've probably seen, if you shop in our stores, or in the press if you're not an Asda shopper, that we've changed our entire private label, our Asda branded range, and called it Chosen by You. And Chosen by You means exactly as it says. We've gone out, we've asked our customers to sample the product, to taste it, to give us the feedback, and we will only sell it if it ticks the right boxes for customers. And that's a real transition. You can see resource efficiency fits very, very neatly in there. So within this, I absolutely refuse the notion that those customers with lower incomes don't care about the future and the environment. They absolutely do care, though I think the big concern I have is they often feel disempowered to act. It can be difficult to see the wood for the trees, excuse the pun, if you're an average shopper when you're faced with ClimateGate, when you're faced with headlines last winter claiming global warming cannot exist because it's snowing, and when you're faced with competing information about the rates of polar ice melt. It even snowed in Yorkshire yesterday, and that confused me, and I work within this space. But our view is we have to make it simple for our customers by making some of the choices for them. I don't expect them to be climate experts. I do expect them to care, and they absolutely do care, and make demands on us, and that's quite right. But we have to make it very simple for them. And carbon labels are a microcosm of this debate. You would think on the face of it that you can label how resource-intensive a product is, customers would make their decision based on that, and we'd make a lot of progress within this space. We don't believe it's quite that simple. And if you look at it from something that people, all of us, know really, really well, health labels. We know whether salt is good for us, bad for us, we know whether fat is good for us, bad for us, depending on our own physique and level of exercise, etc. And at Asda, we've put both types of health labels. So we've put the traffic lights and the GDAs on the front of our pack. But actually, when I talk to customers, they still come back and say, I don't really have time to look at them. That's a product that I want to buy, so that's a product that I'm going to buy. If I extrapolate into that space, putting a carbon label on there and say this is this grams of carbon, this is this grams of carbon, I really don't believe this is going to drive the purchasing choices we need to make progress in this space. And it's great to see that DEFRA actually endorses this position now as well. Better, we feel, to choice edit the products on our shelves, to bring forward more environmentally preferable products, but crucially for us, at the same price or cheaper than the products they replaced. And I make no apologies that Asda's view is very different to other retailers here. And this is a view held by Walmart globally also. Green products should not be developed purely to be sold at a premium and make those customers with money feel good. What I don't want to see is people going into a store and going, there's a green product, there's a standard product, but I've got to feed my family this week, so I have to buy the standard product because I can't afford the green product, and then feel bad about that, and then you're linking it back to feeling disempowered, thinking about what can I do? Far better for all of the products within that store. to be choice edited on your behalf and then sold at the same price or cheaper because they use less resources. And that way we can help the hardest sector of society to engage in this space to do the right thing. And affordability and accessibility of these products are absolutely our watchwords within this space, and helping our buyers and our business to better understand what we need to do to achieve this. A great example is our low-carbon beef. Most of you won't be aware that some of the beef we sell has a third lower carbon footprint than standard beef. You won't be aware because we work with our farmers to develop the product, and then we just put it into our standard beef line. We didn't trumpet it, we didn't put it on the shelf with a green label and add a couple of pence onto the price of it. We just replaced some of our existing meat with a third lower carbon footprint, helping our customers to do the right thing and not expecting them to pay a premium. We believe the change we need to make is so great that selling niche green products at a premium price tag will not go anywhere near enough. But imagine a store, particularly a store the size of Asda and Walmart, where all the products sold are green variants. Then we can really make a difference on resource efficiency. There's still far more to do. We are only just starting on this journey. And Asda's work plan for 2011 is very heavily focused on listening to and helping our customers act. And again, quartile commitment to on the money when it talks to food waste. As a low-price retailer, it's our duty to help our customers to eat all the food we sell them. Clearly, it's not value if they buy it at a good price and then can't eat half of it for whatever reason. But this can negatively affect other areas of resource efficiency. Let's take the block of cheese, where clearly the right thing to do with that block of cheese is to make sure customers can eat all of it. Because if it goes into landfill, it will produce methane, which is a harmful greenhouse gas. But actually, if you then look at packaging reduction, to ensure customers can eat all of that cheese, you have to move away from the lightest weight film you can possibly put around it and put a slightly heavier gauge film with a resealable device. So the definition of resource efficiency needs to evolve as our own understanding of the issues grows. I'd like to turn now to looking ahead, to the future, because all of that work that I've just spoken about, most of it in our direct emissions, Conservation International identified that for Walmart globally, that's 8% of our environmental impact. 92% of our impact is in our products and in our supply chain. The future certainly looks to hold greater challenges to those we've already faced, and I think disagreements in how to tackle them, such as the challenge of feeding over 9 billion people by 2050 and meeting developing countries' dietary expectations for more meat, for more fish, for more dairy. As the world's biggest grocer, is our response to that to grow more or not? What signals should we be giving to our suppliers? Well, Walmart's approach is to start with utilising our resources more efficiently. And I'll come back to that in a minute. And there's an elephant in the room here. It's called water scarcity. But water scarcity, how do we approach that? Do we do water footprinting and follow what we've done on carbon and work quite well on carbon? Or do we take a watershed approach that is much more difficult and involves much more inputs, far greater inputs, and a wide number of people? These are the system shocks that sustainability programs and resource-efficient thinking will need to take into account in the future. So we firmly believe that any business that does not embrace sustainability will not be efficient and fit for the future, particularly in face of the issues I just highlighted, alongside NGO and investor pressures increasing. A lot of you in the room will be aware of Greenpeace's campaign against a company called CNR Mass and how that's had implications for major brands around the world. This is not a nice to do. I was amazed, absolutely amazed during the recession where I sat in meetings and some businesses were talking about they couldn't afford to become more sustainable. Very interesting way of viewing sustainability. But how do you start in transforming a supply chain like Walmart's? From old thinking to low carbon, resource efficient thinking. It will absolutely take innovation. And at Walmart we have 3 key areas of cutting edge activity. And resource efficiency is again at the heart or key to all of those projects. Firstly, Walmart was a founder partner and seed funded a sustainability consortium in 2009. And the aim of this consortium is to produce a sustainable products index. One of the biggest difficulties we all have currently is using common metrics to define a sustainable product. And the index seeks to deliver this holy grail with one number for a product based on how sustainable it is. Members of the consortium now include over 80 partners, from NGOs such as WWF to retailers including Walmart, Ahold, Best Buy, Safeways, M&S in the UK, and manufacturers including Cargill, Unilever, Kellogg's, PepsiCo, Procter & Gamble. And this is just a snapshot of the partners within this programme. DEFRA are also a member, and hopefully soon WRAP will be also. And this index is intended to focus on the whole life cycle of a product, but around 4 key areas. So firstly, energy and climate. Secondly, material efficiency. Then nature and resources, and people and community as the 4th area. That's an interesting debate to be had. What weighs the most when you're giving a product 1 score? People and community or material efficiency? WRAP, I hope, will develop thinking in this space through the Product Research Forum, in which Asda is engaged. In fact, I hope we can link some of the work of that forum with the thinking of this consortium. Because this index score will then help our buyers to make the right decision on ranging green products. Going back to choice editing those products, you need to understand whether they are green products in the first place. So you can see our journey on this. And potentially allow us to communicate the benefits to customers, though unlikely through on-pack messages, for a lot of the reasons that I've just given. Secondly, in the summer this year, we set a target to eliminate 20 million metric tons of greenhouse gases from our global supply chain. This is the most stretching target of its type in the world. We identified 19 key product categories that, when you factor in sales volume as well as greenhouse gas intensity, offer the best reductions, from pork to sweets and from clothing to frozen food. So a real mix there. And we're taking a slightly different approach as a business. Individual countries, markets as we call them, are owning a different area and helping to develop that different area. So Asda is leading the Walmart project on pork so far, and then we will share those learnings across the rest of Walmart because it plays to our strengths and to our farming background. And clearly the Product Research Forum is also interesting here again in terms of using common metrics. The third and newest of our commitments we call Sustainable Agriculture, and this was launched just last month. It signifies a greater focus on our agricultural-based products. Again, interesting to see those products listed on some of the slides we've seen today already. We've defined it very widely. So agriculture to us is deforestation, it's also fish, and it's also small farmers in Africa. So a very wide definition of sustainability. But it's got a very strong resources and social sustainability focus to it. And there's 3 areas of activity: to support our farmers and their communities, to produce more food with fewer resources and less waste, familiar to those of you in the room who are Quartile 2 Target 3 signatories, and finally to sustainably source key agricultural products. And we started with palm oil, beef and fish, but we will move into other commodities as we progress through this project. Many of these activities talk to the future challenges I just laid out in terms of tackling changing diets, in terms of helping farmers waste less and be more efficient with the resources that they use. I'm always struck when I talk to colleagues at Walmart India, just a real granularity example of what we need to achieve here, what we need to fix. They tell me that 50% of the food that's produced in India rots before it gets into customers' mouths. That's the scale of the challenge that we're after through this kind of programme. And Asda, for our part, is playing a leading role in tackling palm oil for Walmart globally under this umbrella. And all 3 of these major areas of work are due to output by the end of 2015, so clearly we have a busy few years ahead of us. Thank you for giving me the last 20 minutes or so to talk you through our sustainability journey and just some of the challenges that we see ahead and the ways in which resource efficiency sits very much at the heart of many of them. We do have programs in place that are going to increase our understanding within this space. Collaboration is essential to tackle many of these issues, so we are up for responsibility deals if they are the right ones. But we also wouldn't want to lose the healthy competition that spurred us on to this point either. We've learnt over the last 5 years that sustainability cannot be a nice to do. It's essential to our future business growth. So we will actually be going further and faster going forward to ensure our business is fit for a resource-constrained world, to help our customers to do the right thing, and to adapt to climate change and be a positive influence in tackling it in the first place. I just want to end again on thanking RAP, both for the opportunity to speak, but more crucially for their valuable guidance in this journey, which has helped us get us to where we are today, and clearly a lot of work to do going forward. Thank you.